and let's talk like we are professionals, and let's provide the information that is truthful to the best of the ability that we have at our disposal. Identify what the problem is and move forward. One of the problems right now is that Taipei, Taiwan, is thought to be a separate entity from China and is not. The ruling elite in China allowed Taipei to be separate or appear to be separate, and in somewhat still does act separately because there are these little lieutenants that think they are, but they really aren't. They don't even know their own game. And they have set up Taipei as a modern city for cars and cell phones, fancy restaurants and hotels, so the ruling elite of China won't be thinking that people are doing a double standard. Because, see, that's Taipei, and over here is China. The more we get into the issues, the more we have problems. And the more problems that we get, the more we need to document it. We have a Hegelian dialectic presented by the Chinese government, making us think that Taipei, Taiwan isn't part of them, when all the presidents that came from Taipei, the last two, I think maybe even the last three, are from there. We can find out, but I know that's where they're from. I do know this. The executive one, which is the administration branch, executive branch of the Chinese government, resides in Taipei. Why was that established? To create this Hegelian dialectic. Who's running all of that? The Chinese government. Is there any separation of corporations from the Chinese government to run autonomously from the people as a Marxist? No, they all have to comply with the regime of a Marxist government. And they do. So Truth Publishing, being a corporation from Taipei, Taiwan, that runs Natural News, that put Jane Burgermeister and all this other stuff into viral mode, is an operation of the Chinese government. The question, folks, is why? Why did it occur? Well, you use some truth to get misdirected. What was the truth? We have a problem. Did it mean swine flu wasn't? No, it doesn't mean it wasn't. Does it mean that vaccinations weren't a problem, which is what they said? No, it's not. But here's how they work it, folks. They find a mule. What's a mule? It's a guy that says, hey, I think this policy is great. And so they find that person, and they often do that with military. Let's take, for example, 9/11 or the Oklahoma City bombing. And we've got a name there. We can say Timothy McVeigh was a military person. Maybe they went up to Timothy McVeigh and got him guilty because they said, how would you like to do something for your country? And then he doesn't know he's in the middle of some bomb plot on people. Maybe that's what could happen. And it can and does happen. They're called a mule. They don't know they're doing the wrong thing. But they profile the person psychologically to make sure they'll carry out the mission without having a lot of instructions. Thus, when naturalnews.com advertised for a whistleblower prior to their launching of their internet viral person, they said, we have resources that will remain unnamed. Well, put in the name China, that will fund this person and make it worth your while. I mirrored the site. If it's gone, I still got it. It was an op. It was an op to misdirect us and to whine about things that won't get anything done. Now, I'm going to tell you this one. We can't do that this time. With this new virus, we will die. So don't get in the way and spout your crap. Your 120-page document, Jane, didn't make it on my website because it couldn't pass the mustard. I only got into it 5 pages and realized I was wasting my time. And I'll go right here on this show with you one-on-one. Baloney. Okay, we've got more important things to do. Haiti is now going to become America's Taiwan. Why? Because it's Hegelian dialectics at play. Folks, this is a chessboard. These are princes, and these guys are trying to move you into checkmate. And they're using Haiti for the Hegelian dialectic. If they're losing, they got to find something that makes them win. If they aren't winning, they have to find something that makes the other guys lose. Haiti was that. It was the Taipei, Taiwan of China. I'll tell you what's going to end up happening if the world hangs around long enough. It's going to pass up the Dominican Republic and the heyday of Cuba for a resort location and high-priced rentals and luxurious hotels for the ruling elite, because they have to have a jurisdiction, much like the Isle of Man and all those other financial. By the way, guess what? Switzerland won't let Americans do business because they can't do it there anymore. The IRS won't let them. Nor will the supposed illegal Patriot Act that was passed on fraud. Why is it fraud? A lot of people say, Dr. Waterman, why is it fraud? Well, it's fraud because it was based on a lie. The war was based on a lie. We all know this. And we think that just voting in Scott, a Republican, in Massachusetts is, oh gosh, it's the absolute nemesis to the Democratic Party. Well, wasn't Obama supposed to be the nemesis to the existing direction that the United States was occurring? Has there been any change? Oh yeah, the only change is more of the same. Okay, folks. The virus is hit. We've got some problems. Haiti is the dialectic. And guess what? What if Haiti's a separate island nation that allows for real interesting havens of banking industry to exist, much like Switzerland does? Golly, wouldn't it be a lot easier for Hillary Clinton to run down into Haiti than to run over to Switzerland? Well, she already ran into the Cayman Islands and down in the Bahamas to hide and get money. Why not just take control of the whole place? Let's do it in Haiti. We've got a fellow today that's going to be coming on. He's a journalist from Holland. His name, and I apologize because I am not able to speak Dutch. But his name is Mika Kot, and I think that could be Mika Kot. Go ahead, continue where you left off.
Yeah, well, I was just telling that I'm an investigative journalist. My prime expertise is in law. I'm a legal reporter. That means I'm following law firms and big lawsuits in the Netherlands, primarily in the corporate field, but also in the criminal field. But more than that, I also do all kind of other research subjects. For instance, I heard you talking about H&1N and Jane Burgermeister. I had her in my show once. I have a radio show on ArgusoogRadio the same evening as you, John. You know that, just 2 hours before you were on the air.
Okay.
And I think it was 2 months ago, I had a big interview with Jane Burgermeister for more than 2 hours.
Yes.
And so I know her quite well, and I follow her